I've been working with a lot of streamers to try to fix this problem for them, and I haven't had one of them change their behavior. Not a single one. They've changed their behavior in little ways, and it's like I want to tell them, if you don't do this inside of 1 to 2 years, your channel will die. At first, in the beginning, there was nothing, okay? Then Twitch created Lite, and there were game categories. When the first game categories appeared, you could get discovered in any of them. Because the ratio of streamers to viewers was such that viewers could find you. Okay. As time goes on, and we get into like 2016-ish or 2015, 2016-ish, the top game categories become saturated with broadcasters. So now it becomes not possible to be discovered in League of Legends, etc. Big categories become very hard. But small categories, so like Magic the Gathering, Path of Exile, etc., these are still discoverable, probably all the way through 2017. And then 2018, 2019, as a recent development, all categories are too saturated. So if you, and also more importantly, the customer behavior changed. So streamers that became successful using the modality of broadcasting long hours in 2015 to 2017 are still trying to do the same thing, but they're not meeting success. And I don't know if you want me to pull you up as a case study, because it's not going to be good if we do it. But you are a victim of this problem. So what the behavior has to change of these broadcasters, right? Or they will fail. Because so like what I'm saying is, a lot of older streamers are doing the same. And by the way, like so Nerd Fusion is a 5-year-old organization, right? We've been around for 5 years. I've only been here for 1 year, or barely that, like 7 months or something. But the problems that Nerd Fusion has is this problem, which is one of the reasons why I'm so familiar with it. All of our broadcasters have this problem. They're acting like streamers in 2015, but it's 2019, and the ecosystem has changed a lot. In tech, everything goes really fast. So if you're in any other industry in tech, if you're doing a behavior that you did 4 years ago and you haven't changed your behavior, you're fucked. But streamers are doing that, and they're still getting by with the impact of their audience, but they will eventually fail on this trajectory. And 2018, the beginning of 2018 and 2019 changed a lot on Twitch. So what is the appropriate response to this phenomenon for a streamer looking for growth? Yeah. So great question. So that's sort of the point, right? So like you're kind of asking like, what do we do about it? Okay, like I understand what we do. So I've been working with a lot of streamers to try to fix this problem for them, and I haven't had one of them change their behavior. Not a single one. They've changed their behavior in little ways. So I don't think I'm good at communicating this yet. And it's like, I want to tell them, if you don't do this inside of 1 to 2 years, your channel will die. Like you have 6 months to 1 year to do this, your channel will die if you don't do this. But they don't change their behavior. So I'm not communicating this right. I'll tell you what I think they should do, or what our company thinks they should do. But just like with the corollary that I don't seem to be able to communicate this in a good way. So here we go. The first thing they need to do is they need to stream 50 to 70% less. But they still need to work with that time. And that time needs to be on making narrative content. I'm going to define that in a minute. On YouTube, which is number 1. Instagram, which is number 2. And then you could choose a third platform. Maybe it's like Facebook, TikTok, or even like Twitter, depending on like what you're doing. So like for Fortnite, it would be Instagram. For like political streams, it would be Facebook, right? But YouTube is always number one for everybody. So what do I mean by narrative content? And we could label this talk, streamers are going to fail if they don't do this thing. Okay? Okay, it's like a good clickbait. What I mean by narrative content is, I mean, your story, your stream has to have a point soon. So you need to have something that you are known for or something that you do. So, like, if you look at all the successful streams that are coming up over the last year or two, they are all thematic to some degree. They're streams that focus on doing something. What I mean by a narrative is they have like a persistent stream. So when I realized this, I went from being like a game streamer to doing an industry show, and my viewership went up like 500%, like some insane number. Like we went from 200 subs to 1,000. We went from like 100 concurrent viewers to like many hundreds, and like everything went really well. And it's not because I'm any different of a person or I'm better. It's just because I locked onto something that was like really interesting to a lot of people, and then I did it. And so, for example, like for Zizaran, the number one thing he needs to do is he needs to become like the ARPG guy. He needs to become the authority on this. And every time there's a new ARPG or an update in the ARPG or whatever, he makes a YouTube video about it. And then he writes an article about it. And then he posts content about it. And then he talks as an authority on that. And he needs to be the number one person in ARPGs, period. And he needs to do that. If he does that the right way, then when Diablo 4 comes out, he'll have 25,000 viewers. And he'll be the Diablo 4 streamer, and he'll be one of the biggest people on Twitch. They're in for forever if he does this. That will be, but if he doesn't do it, then Ziz will gradually die off as a broadcaster. This is one of my best friends. So I'm saying this is like, yeah, that is what Asmongold did. That's right. Ziz, well, actually, but I'll give you an even better case study than that. I'm going to give you a super cool case study on this. Here is the guy that did it. You want to, actually, let's see. Okay, Twitch chat. It's not Asmongold. Who did this the right way? In the last year, who was a dying streamer, like by every metric, and they became an authority on a game, and they fucking took off. Okay, I'll tell you who it was. I'm gonna get some water. I'm not gonna take a break like I did last time. It's gonna be like 20 seconds. You type in chat who you think it is. All right, so we're talking about a streamer who was literally dying, and then within like a month came back. Let's see what guesses we have. All right. Amaranth. Good answer. Disguised Toast. All right. S-Fan. Trainwrecks. Okay. All right. A lot of people figured it out. The answer is 150 times billion% Skara. Okay? Skara was a dead streamer, basically, and nobody was talking about him. And then Skara did one graphic. Okay, this graphic right here. Look at this. So what Skara did was, this is like an insane case study. Okay, so Teamfight Tactics was coming out. There was a lot of people that were positioned to do well in it, but the people that were positioned to do the best were two types of streamers. The Hearthstone streamers and the League of Legends streamers. League of Legends streamers because obviously League of Legends correlated to TFT. Hearthstone because Hearthstone had a lot of similarities with TFT. Skara did two things that were really, really big, okay? The number one thing he did was he streamed consistently for 365 days at the same time. And he never didn't do this. Number two, he literally paid, I don't even know what, maybe nothing, for a graphic and put his name on it of the item combinations. And he was the first person to do this. And he worked with Riot Games to have a YouTube video, a series of YouTube videos out. So by the time that TFT launched and no one knew anything about it, Skara had the item sheet and he had 4 YouTube videos about the game out. I think we could probably go back through Skara's YouTube channel and we could find it. And then from then on out, he became the authority on TFT. And now look at his YouTube videos, right? This 3-star sorcerer, Aatrox, one-shots, they're all videos that are TFT videos. And look at the views on these. These are incredible, especially for TFT, which is like a very declining game. These are unbelievable, but we can keep going through it. And so he came out once TFT released as the guide guy. Here it is. I think this is the first one. First gameplay footage, teamfight tactics, 600K views. Beginner guide, teamfight tactics, 834K views. 20 plus units, 1 million views. Aurelian Soul is broke. And so here's where it starts, right? 4 comps you should try out. Skara killed it. And he is like, now he's like gradually declining over the last 30 days, but his average viewers are 6,700 still. And this is all just because the game hype is dying a little bit. But Skara made himself an authority on this game, and he killed it. This is what every streamer needs to think about. How do I become an authority on something? So when I kind of sat back and I was like, okay, if I'm going to continue streaming on Twitch, there's no way I can do video games because I'm not Shroud, right? I can't like, I'm not a government experiment that can 4v1 in Apex Legends or whatever. And I'm not Moon, where I can do like improv comedy that's so good that people will just watch me play Divinity Original Sin, which is like the most resident sleeper game to watch, where I'm now convinced that literally I think Moon could probably stream Stellaris and he would still get 8,000 viewers. I mean, it is insane, right? Like, I don't have the improv. So what can I do as a broadcaster that is better than anyone else? Well, no one understands the industry as well as I do on Twitch. Nobody does. So I can do something there that makes me unique in that way. There is something that every broadcaster can do that is that level that they need to find. So that's the secret. That's what every broadcaster needs to do to get to the point where they're going to survive in this ecosystem. And they need to do that, I think, by streaming a lot less. That's what the data shows. And they need to work on creative, iterative, and narrative content for Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. And I wish that like I should work harder to be a living example of this, but it's always a little bit challenging for me because I'm not a streamer really, right? I just pretend to be because this is just my side hustle compared to my talent stuff that I do with Nerd Fusion, which is my actual job. So I could be a better living example of this. I do okay.